And one thing in leadership and just overall scaling that I don't think is talked about a lot is HR. When everything's aligned and the employees know exactly what to be able to drive and how it's going to benefit them, and that's aligned with how it's going to benefit the company, you're going to win and you're going to scale. A lot of times I get asked the question about how do you scale, and we talk about the sexy things like creative financing or how to reposition a property, take an asset from a value of X to a value of Y. And while those things are important, I think if you really want to scale, like if you want to scale and have thousands of units or even hundreds of units, you got to understand how to build a business. And one thing in leadership and just overall scaling that I don't think is talked about a lot is HR. Now, a lot of people think HR is about compliance, right? Making sure people are compliant within the company, or you do things the right way, or maybe even just hiring. But that is the baseline expectation of what you want when it comes to HR. HR is a lot about culture and engaging your team and staffing quickly with quality hires and building world-class training and development programs. Literally just got out of a HR meeting that I sit in with the president and my executive HR of the company, and she is able to share key statistics. And I want to share some with you and describe some of the systems around HR that we've implemented in our company that I think have a direct correlation in our ability to be able to go from 4 employees to 104 employees in 4 years, right? That's a huge amount of scale that is really, really tough to do because of the training and the development and the processes that you have to put in place while keeping your team. So the first metric that she goes over is staffing. It's really, really critical as we start the year that we have enough staffing in key places to be able to continue to grow. And we just have closed on a deal every single month since last May. And we're shooting this today in February. In fact, in January alone, we closed on 384 units. So we've hired 12 people. But more importantly, how fast did we hire them? So in January, the average time that we took to hire somebody was 15.25 days. And I don't think this is measured a lot. Like, how quickly can you bring somebody in that is a quality person into your company? What are all the different ways that you can attract great talent? Now, maybe it's social media, like what we're doing right now. Maybe you have a reputation of strong hires within the company itself. But maybe it's where you post, right? What you're posting for. What does the job responsibilities look like to attract the great talent? But I think one of the key things that's not talked about enough is how quickly do you work somebody through the process. I mean, we have hired people that have shared that they were also interviewing at other companies. In fact, I would argue that anybody that you probably want to hire today is also interviewing at 3 or 4 other companies because they're great, right? They have a job and they have the ability to get an offer from a lot of different places. So your ability to be able to get somebody through your process quickly and clearly communicate what you're looking for, that speed is super important. And I will tell you, HR can be competitive because my HR is sharing that her team, she wants to fill open positions faster than we rehab and fill open units. Think about that for a second, right? HR can be competitive too, and this is a key metric that you should be able to score. Along with speed, also you should be scoring quality. And quality on staffing, we score like this. First, from orientation, what was our first impression? So every single new candidate will get a score. And then after 30 days, we have a few different questions that we ask the new hire. And basically those 3 questions should be like, did you make the right choice? Like, do you like working here? And we have them rate that on a 1 to 6 scale. 6 means like, I absolutely made the right decision. This was exactly the company I thought applied to work at, and I'm super excited to work here. And it's just simple, like, right? If there is a 4 in one category, a 5 in the next category, and a 6 in the last category, then their obvious score would be 5. We just give the average. But the leader also scores them. The leader is like, how happy are they with their decision to hire this person 30 days in, right? How likely is this person after 30 days to perform the job responsibilities that you set out to hire for? We can actually merge the two. How great did we select of the candidate? How are they performing? It's a two-way street. Not just how we're feeling about the person, but how is the person feeling about the company too? So that's how we would measure quality. We also look at culture, and you can measure culture in a lot of different ways, right? Through engagement surveys, how excited the team is about driving the results. Do they know their key metrics? But just an easy one to measure overall culture too is, what is your turnover? So we lost one person in January out of 105 employees. That's a pretty good month for us. And last year we finished at just over a 30% turnover rate. When our industry, according to NAC, is between 50 to 70%, property management is high turnover. We're about 20 percentage points less than that. That speaks to our culture and our ability to be able to not just retain talent, but engage talent. These are metrics that you should know as the president, as the owner of the company. And I firmly believe that sometimes companies or entrepreneurs are not able to scale because they don't know these metrics and they're not as focused on these things, which causes a lot of turnover, which costs a lot of money. And that brings me, speaking of money, to the last two categories, training and development. Since year one, and now we're going into year 5, we've spent over $100,000 a year on training and development. We try to put in world-class programs into our company so that instead of relying on outside sources for training, even colleges or universities, we kind of want to create the college and university atmosphere inside of our company. And because my property management company, for example, has a construction arm, we have a lot of people that have to understand the technical skills of how to do things. But it's why right now we have 7 different people that when they joined our company, did not know how or did not have the skill set to be able to do things like plumbing or electrical or HVAC or even putting in flooring. But we have training programs, with licensed instructors to be able to train these people with no skills. So instead of them going to a tech school and paying money to learn these skills, they're coming to our company and we're actually paying them to learn those skills. You want to build these world-class training programs so you can actually attract great talent. And for us, great talent means great attitude. It means great work ethic. It means somebody that has the ability to be able to solve problems and want to grow with a company. We're not necessarily looking for somebody that has all the skills to be putting in luxury vinyl plank. We can teach that, right? Or to take out and replace a toilet. We can teach those things. And that brings me on to development. The last big pillar in HR. And when it comes to development, guys, when they know these skills, you should have some sort of academy, some sort of ability to be able to take the person, maybe it's a renovation tech that now knows how to put in floors. And now how do we become a rental tech 1 to develop into a rental tech 2? And the ways to be able to do that is to be able to pay them more money to be able to continue to skill them up. So maybe before when it came to plumbing, we taught them how to replace a toilet, sink drain, do a garbage disposal. But they don't know how to put in a water heater when it comes to plumbing. Well, now we can teach them how to put in a water heater, right? Or maybe before they knew how to do HVAC stuff when it comes to, ventilation or ACs, but they could not fix a furnace. So now we'll skill them up on furnace. What are the kind of things within your company? This doesn't have to be property management. This doesn't have to be construction. This can be, delinquency. This can be accounting. You can have a platform for this is how to be really good at your job today. But if you're going to develop into accounting specialist 2 from a 1, here are the skill sets of things that we're going to put you through from a 90-day, 6-month, maybe it's even a year-long program within your company to teach you the skills and abilities to become, at that next level. And then when you reach it or you achieve it, and you can prove that you can do it consistently, we'll pay you more for it too. So it's almost like a full circle win-win-win, but it creates engagement because I think sometimes when you're in a job for a long period of time, at least the people that I want in my company, they're always looking for how do I do more? How do I become more? How do I gain more responsibility? And with that, how do I make more? And I think if you really think about HR as more of a work stream within your company that helps it scale quicker, build the building blocks to operate the systems at hand, instead of just a work center to be compliant. Are we following all the rules, right? Or a work center just to pay the payroll. That's an HR's entry into being an HR. All the things that I just described is what makes a great executive HR. The people behind the systems and how hard they're able to drive it and how much they're engaged and how much they grow at your company and even the ability to be able to retain them, it's truly what's going to create a lot of wealth for you, for your employees, and ultimately allow you to be able to scale at the speed that you want. If we had the same amount of turnover that my industry has, which would be, again, somewhere between 50 to 70%. That means we're losing half our staff every single year. There's no way, we would go from 4 employees to 104. We would literally not be able to keep up with the pace of our growth of the amount of units that we've added over that time. Like we've grown from 252 units to 4,300 today. So we'd had to slow down our growth to be able to handle that, because we'd have people constantly having to relearn, reteach, and I can't imagine the profit I would lose from that as well too. I mean, some of these work centers, if you think about all the time that you're taking to train and skill them up, it could be 6 months worth of training. You lose that and you have to start all over. You don't reach peak efficiency or even close to peak efficiency when a team member hits month 13, when they first cycled themselves at their job. And that's if their job is 85% the same. So when you're thinking about scaling, today I wanted to just touch a little bit on HR. Why don't you think about like how quickly you're able to hire open positions? An open position causes disengagement among the people that have to be overworked to keep up with metrics. Why don't you think about the engagement? Why don't you think about the development processes? Why don't you think about the culture that your company has? Like, what more can you do for your employees? This year, for example, we're adding over $150,000 in just incentives. Incentives equal outcome. Like when everything's aligned and the employees know exactly what to be able to drive and how it's going to benefit them, and that's aligned with how it's going to benefit the company, you're going to win and you're going to scale.